There are over 42 million identical twins in the world.
Joe is part of me as I am part Joe.
We hide nothing, and there's no reason to. It's like we're the same person.
Identical twins share the same genetic DNA, but some share even more than that.
It's nice to sort of share our life sort of together and share a double fate.
But we're sharing the same brain at the same time, I think.
Some resort to cosmetic surgery to ensure that they stay sharing the same face.
You see the wrinkles, you see how tired the other one looks, and you look at each other and go, my God, it's time.
And when twins marry twins, it's often assumed that they share each other.
People have said, do you swap? And you say, like, no, like this, and people just can't understand, so why they're the same, what does it matter, you know?
So what's it like being part of a lifelong double act? Tonight we meet the extreme twins who are so alike they could be one.
Yeah, we set alarm for about 5 o'clock. It's about between 5:30 and 6 when we get up. And then I'll go into the bathroom and wash Karen. She washes my hair. She dries it. I start drying mine while she washes I wash my hair and then I dry it. Then we get dressed and get our lunch out the fridge and then just go out the house. We just decide the night before what we're wearing, sort of get it out of the wardrobe the night before, and just so it's ready to put on the next day. And we always agree on what we're going to wear. Yeah.
The groom twins have dressed in matching clothes since birth and have created matching lives. At 39 years old, Karen and Carol, spelt with a matching K, have never lived apart.
We do get strange looks walking down the street, and people haven't seen twins before. They're quite there. So some of them people are surprised to see two people sort of wearing the same and stuff. We wear our bag on different shoulders so people can. There is a slight difference.
The grooms are never far from each other's thoughts.
I work at Victoria, so that's and Karen works at Temple, which is 4 stops away. So I get off the train and say goodbye, and then she carries on. I carry on to Temple, and then I get off, and then we phone each other and say just to make sure we've got in.
For the grooms, a shared upbringing has become an extreme lifestyle.
Twins have 3 identities. They have their each separate identity, and they have this third identity, which is their twin identity. And they're of more interest together than they are separately. And it almost is a self-fulfilling prophecy. They want to be together because they get more attention that way. And some even make a career out of it.
The Jamieson sisters from California have done just that. They work together as a spiritual double act known as the Psychic Twins. They claim to have felt telepathic from a very young age.
Today we've got 2 very special guests, Terry and Linda Jamieson. Terry and Linda are actors, teachers, books illustrators, and perhaps most interestingly are known worldwide as the Psychic Twins. Terry and Linda, welcome to the show.
It's our pleasure.
Pleasure, Derek. Thanks for having us.
Sure. When did you first realize that you 2 were psychic?
Our first sign of it was that we were child prodigies and we could, draw extremely well. And then as we got older, we could predict things. So, I'm talking about 5, 6 years old.
As children, when we were like 4 or 5 years old, we used to sit in front of a blackboard on the floor, cross-legged, drawing pictures of the insides of spaceships.
Yeah.
How did we know what a spaceship looked like inside? We spent every minute together as children. I don't think there was a time when we were apart.
Our parents called us one generic name, Sissy, so they wouldn't have to tell us apart.
And so they still can't tell us apart.
We were really in our own world as children.
And it seems they still are.
I'm getting a spirit guy named Angela.
Yes, I was too.
Around
I've
her.
written it right here.
You wrote it too?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I wrote Angela.
the way we work, it's almost like we don't have to talk ever because we're almost always thinking and feeling the same thing. It's kind of weird.
But it's an interesting checks and balances kind of process where you're almost talking to yourself, to your subconscious who is sitting right next to you and saying, oh, did you get that too? Oh, that's interesting. So it's a validation, a reinforcement of what the other is feeling.
The Jamiesons also claim to share information about the future. In 1999, on a previous radio program, they made a prediction which they see as proof of their psychic ability.
We are seeing various terrorist attacks on federal government, and also the New York Trade Center, the World Trade Center in 2002, with a terrorist attack. And
so not exactly right on the money. You predicted it for 2002.
We
of
were
course.
111 days off. I think that's pretty good. Whether you're
No,
going to
that's
fault
what I'm
us
about
on
to say.
that.
Better than anyone. Better than anyone
else.
Even if twins carry on sharing the same thoughts as they get older, their bodies can age differently. Some will go to any lengths to stay looking the same.
I don't think many twins would be willing to admit it, but there's always this little basic competition. I don't want her to look better than me.
The Groom twins spend their lives together, to the exclusion of anybody else.
Not interested in boys.
Never were?
No, never. I mean, if twin boys ever came along, that would be nice. They'll understand how close we are. Yeah. That would be nice.
Until then, they are happy sharing a home and each other's hobbies.
I collect stamps because I collect stamps for the guide dogs. So I collect stamps for friends and work colleagues as well. Collect stamps for me. So sometimes you spend our time cutting around them. They got to be a certain. You got to have a certain border around them. So we spend our time cutting around them and counting them all out.
All their personal possessions match.
It's because when we go away, we always find two of each from out. If you buy a doll or buy an ornament, we always sort of buy the same. So you have to buy two of everything. They're identical because they've got the same things either side. So it's sort of like a mirror image in both cabinets. Well, because we're twins, we wanted to share a house. We wouldn't want to live separately. So we just bought a house between us and thought it's nice to sort of share our life sort of together and share a double bed and just share all the things that we've got around us.
I think because identical twins are clones, they are genetically the same, they get on better. They get on better than fraternal twins who only share 50%, like a normal brother and sister. So immediately they know each other, what they like, what they dislike, and they share the same likes and dislikes, generally speaking. And unless a conscious decision is made for them to turn out, they want to actually decide to have different lives, they do tend to follow the same course and they want to be together.
Like the Grooms, the 55-year-old Koshin twins from Florida have lives which are totally entwined. They're both financial consultants, they live in the same apartment block and even work at the same desk. But there's a problem. They're identical twins who are ageing differently.
We were always looked upon as one person, and we always had a lot of extra attention because we did look alike. And so feeling that way our whole life would be such a major change if we didn't look alike. And so it's really important to protect this identity that we're comfortable with rather than being looked upon as separate people at this point in life.
The Koshins have found a radical solution. A Park Avenue plastic surgeon who specialises in keeping identical twins looking identical. 7 years ago they had cosmetic surgery. Today they're back for more.
How are things coming along?
We'll ask you. What do you think?
I think you look great, but I was looking at your pictures before you came in.
First drawn to twins through research into the ageing process, Dr. Antel claims to have operated on more identical twins than any other cosmetic surgeon.
I noticed that you're both getting a little bit extra under in here.
Wait, I have to tell you something.
Yes.
We're on the plane yesterday. We're on the plane, and I went, oh, look at this. And she goes, what are you talking about? See?
Identical twins in their 20s typically still look very much like twins, but by the time you start getting into approximately your mid-40s, you'll really start seeing the changes. As we age, there are constantly mutations in our genes. As people get older, it's more likely that identical twins will grow apart. The patients that seek us out, they want to restore the twinness that they've always had.
Do you also feel that these type of things can be done with this forehead lift or something, lifting this up more permanently? Is that
That's
for either
another
one of
option.
us at this point?
Well, it's another option. It's a little bit more aggressive approach.
We're together almost 24 hours a day. You see the wrinkles, you see how tired the other one looks, and you look at each other and go, my God, it's time.
So one of the things that we were talking about is to possibly consider Botox injections. This area right here or up in here might help bring you back in balance a little bit more so that we could restore your identity, your twinness, as much as we possibly can. With identical twins, because their identity is very tied together, if one of them is aged much more than the other, it takes apart their twinness, their identity. So what we try to do is to tune them back up, adjust them so that they maintain their twinness. If one needs a little more work, we may do that to try to rebalance them. Are you ready?
And they're not stopping at Botox. The Koshans' original surgery was a joint birthday present to each other. Now, to ensure they remain a matching twin set, they've booked in for more cosmetic enhancement.
What was very important to us was the fact that with surgery that we would look the same after surgery. And with a doctor that did not specialize in twins, that maybe we would come out looking different. And it was our objective, as we've always been identical twins, to continue to
never wanting to be apart.
Joe and I used to job share, so whichever one worked, the other one cooked dinner that night. So we took all the children, everybody over. The children started getting too heavy to carry home. So we decided, this is silly, we might as well all move in together, because we spent the whole evenings together anyway.
We'd thought about moving in together in retirement, but it just seemed a natural move to us to do it earlier.
15 years ago, the two couples and their 4 children, 2 each, bought a house together. They have all lived under the same roof ever since.
I don't think there was much doubt in their minds, ever, was there?
No, there was more doubt in other people's minds, perhaps friends, even our solicitor warned us against moving in together. Yeah. Nobody really had the positive attitude we had. If we'd have listened to everybody, you might have thought twice, but we just knew it was for us. We were so in each other's pockets anyway.
There's an upside and there's a downside. The upside is we have a really good relationship here. The house works well, jobs get done much easier. There's really lots of good upsides. The downside, I guess, is you don't win too many arguments because they can gang up on either Chaz or I.
We like what we got. Big house, nice garden, I mean, socialising and everything else, which you couldn't do if you halved it.
Even after decades of domestic togetherness, Joe and Di's similarity can still cause confusion.
Our husbands have, on the odd occasion, got mixed up with who's who.
We've never been in a situation where you've done something which you've regretted.
I mean, Joe's husband nearly kissed me bye-bye the other day, but only because I had her coat on.
You're not sure what they were wearing during the course of the day, and they may be at one side of the house and you're sort of further away, and they've got their back to you, and you think, is that Joe or Di?
And we never get offended if they muddle us, obviously. It's the easiest thing to do, especially from the rear or whatever. Joe is part of me as I am part of Joe. I think that it really is a bond.
There's nothing we like to see more than two twins in a pushchair.
No.
We love it. It fascinates us as much as perhaps other people are fascinated that Diane and I, still at our age, live together and work together.
But there's no secrets with twins. You can share your most intimate secret. You know it's never going to go further. There is all that to be said for being a twin.
The chances of being born an identical twin are 1 in 250. But for some twins, the coincidence doesn't stop there. In Oldham in 1976, 2 sets of identical twins were born on the same day in the same hospital. Although they didn't know each other, both pairs had a typical twin upbringing.
We did everything together. We had the same friends and we always played out together. We just did everything together. We would even sit on the same chair when we was having our tea.
We still like the same food now as well, don't we?
Yeah.
As we did when we was little, and drinks and... There's not much things that we don't like.
There's not many differences, is there?
Well, we had bunk beds. I was always on the top, Sean was on the bottom. And I would say whenever Christmas time or anything like that, there was always 2 of everything. So it was quite packed in our room. Yeah, we used to turn away from each other, because if we saw what they'd opened and you hadn't opened it first, you knew what you were getting, so it took all the excitement out of it. So we used to sit back to back, opening things. Didn't we? Yeah.
When the 2 sets of twins first met, Sean and Darren were performing their double act in a local pub.
The first time I remember seeing Sean was when he was singing, and that's what I was attracted about, his singing voice. And then as I got to know him, I was attracted to his personality and his eyes. I liked his eyes.
The first thing I liked about Maxine is she was very bubbly, very lively.
It was his personality that shone through and his sense of humour. I just remember him being very small and funny. He made me laugh.
She was about the same height as me, which was an advantage. She was quite bubbly.
Later, the twins discovered that they also shared exactly the same birthday.
I was very surprised when I found out Sean was born on the same day, because I thought he was lying to me.
January, like I said, 26th, and she didn't believe me. She thought that I'd find out her birthday and I'd try to line her up.
I had to get him to get his driving licence to prove to me that he was actually born on the same day, we had the same birthday.
But it was strange knowing that my brother was having his birthday on the same day as his girlfriend, and she was a twin as well.
It's freaky, isn't it? It was just a shock.
2 sets of identical twins may have seemed made for each other, but there was a hitch.
When I first started seeing Darren, we had to keep it a secret, because Sean wasn't very big on the twin thing. He wanted to be seen as an individual, and then knowing that he was his twin brother was seeing his girlfriend's twin sister.
If I wanted to go out with my girlfriend, I wanted to go out with my girlfriend, not my girlfriend, her sister, and my brother.
Oh, he thought it was a freak show, Sean. He thought everybody would be looking at us thinking what they're doing and why they're together, just doing it for show kind of thing. That's what Sean used to get embarrassed about it.
People would look and stare. Some people would just take a glance and then have another look, and you could see people talking and whispering, you know. People do, or I've said, do you swap? And you say, like, no, like this, and people just can't understand, so why not? They're the same, what does it matter, you know? I mean, I suppose it's every man's dream to have a couple of twins. Obviously, you're going out with 2 completely different people. They just, in my eyes, they just look the same. So, I mean, I've never felt attracted to Maxine at all. So, I mean, I wouldn't.
But double dating did result in the odd moment of mistaken identity.
I got them mixed up once, and it was Callum was getting ready at our house, and she'd borrowed Maxine's pants, and Helen had gone into our bedroom for some reason, and she was in the mirror, and I just walked past and gave her a good slap on the ass. So that was embarrassing, but that's the only time. That was because she had her back to me, you see. So
the two couples were married in 2000 and coincidentally went on to have children born just weeks apart.
The reason that identical twins often marry other identical twins is they both have exactly the same tastes and preferences, and they've at last found something where both sets of twins understand each other. They're both able to be in each other's company, and it doesn't feel strange to them.
But sometimes a twin can be the cause of a relationship breakdown.
There's something instinctive in me that says, go with it, do what she says. It's like this demonic voice.
In Harrow, Middlesex, the Groom twins continue to cultivate their similarity. For the last 20 years, they've been getting matching haircuts at their local hairdressers.
We always have it cut the same day, and Kay normally cuts her hair each time we come down here, so...
I can't tell the difference between them. I think Carol talks a bit more than Karen, but sitting there, I would know the difference.
No, we always come sort of together on the same day, yeah. Never been one of us, never one come down here before it's been together, so...
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, thank
you. I said to them, wouldn't it be funny if they had a boyfriend? He wouldn't know which one was taken. He wouldn't know who he was taking out, would he?
We're going to stay free and single. We're
free and single, they're going to stay. I said they could have some fun though, couldn't they, really?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Recently brought out a fitness DVD, so we bought that too. Even though we haven't done any Keep Fit, but we still bought it because it was hers.
But there can be a downside to being a twin. When it comes to relationships, sometimes two's company and three's a crowd.
Mike and I met in art school. I was 17 and he was 18. And, we dated on and off for about 5 years and then we married. I was 22. I was very sort of sad when Terry got married because I felt that I was losing my best friend in a way, and she didn't confide as much in me then as she does now. So I felt a little bit left out.
it felt a little strange for me to have to adjust to her being married. And she used to paint obsessively with him. They did paintings all day long, and I was a painter as well. And then she stopped painting as much and becoming more involved in performance art.
Soon after the wedding, the twins began performing together, but there wasn't a role for Mike.
Linda and I started working together as a sister act, and we were doing robotic mime and singing and comedy for a living. So we were out all the time, and we were always together, and I didn't see Mike that much. So I think that it eventually, I know this is true about twins, is that a guy will very often feel threatened by the close bond of his wife and her sister, and it very often drives a wedge right through the marriage.
One of the toughest parts is when they get to an age when they start to need outside relationships, whether that's proper relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends. And it's very hard for somebody to break into that intimacy that they have. And they don't need anybody else. They've got each other. And so a lot of them feel, well, what more do we need?
Men that we date are threatened by that, the fact that they can't ever really know us on that level, and that somebody else will always be closer. That's very threatening to a man who isn't real confident about himself in relationship.
For Terry and Linda, any relationship with the opposite sex is a source of jealousy.
The last guy that I dated said, "Gosh, that's scary that you have a twin." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because she has to like me too."
And I didn't.
And
I didn't like him. But I tried to like him. I really do try to like her boyfriends. But, you know, it's difficult.
Linda's influence over her twin isn't just confined to her choice of boyfriends.
She's always resisted my help, even though she wants it. She says she wants it, and I think I help her a lot. There's still that passive-aggressive sort of resistance that is still going on after so many years.
Well, in some ways, it does bother me that she leads me in certain directions and is so aggressive about it, but I feel like there's something instinctive in me that says, go with it. Do what she says. It's like this demonic voice. And I end up like doing it.
Even when twin boys marry twin girls born on the same day in the same hospital, wedded bliss isn't guaranteed. In 2000, these two sets of identical twins got married. 4 years later, Sean received a call from his twin brother Darren.
I think he was arranging pick-up times for the gig that night, and he just said on the phone if he spoke to anybody. I said, how do you mean? He said, have you spoke to my mum or anything today? I said, no. He said, well, me and Ellen are splitting up.
I didn't realise when it was not going to work out until they actually decided to part. It was quite a shock to everybody, because it just happened so quickly. It just came to a full stop all of a sudden.
Helen just turned around. She just said that she'd had enough. It wasn't working for her. She wanted to stay friends, and she thought it'd be better if we split up. So that's what happened. Helen moved out, and I stayed in the house.
I wasn't happy, and I don't think he was happy. It was just one of them things. We just grew apart. It wasn't working.
None of us had ever seen him like that before. I think he was just a bit more heartbroken at the fact that he wasn't wanted anymore. He obviously didn't want to talk at that time, so I left it until the night time, to talk about it.
It affected me and Sean quite bad, because obviously Sean was taking Darren's side, I was taking our own side, but we tried not to talk about it, but when we did, we used to argue, because we're going to stick up for each other as twins, aren't we? So if we would have carried on, we'd have just ended up probably falling out ourselves and putting our marriage on the rocks. So we did try just not to talk about it.
Obviously, I was 100% behind Darren, and she was there for her sister, so it did have a lot of strain on the relationship Darren and Helen was back on speaking terms and getting on with their lives before me and Maxine had actually started to talk about it, even.
Well, I think the thing is, Sean understands that we're close, and obviously I will confide in our Maxine. Sometimes it was difficult because he's going to stick up for his brother and our Maxine will stick up for me. I think it was hard for them both to keep, their opinions to themselves, because a couple of times they did come to blows.
Despite Darren and Helen's split and subsequent divorce, one thing has remained unchanged: the bond between the sisters.
Put words on your wrist. We're all separate now. I don't go to any of their family parties or... And it has been difficult. It's a change of life, isn't it? But I still see our Maxine, so that's all I'm bothered about. No, nothing will ever come between us. There's nothing that'd ever break us up.
Both sets of twins feel the same.
Our relationship stayed exactly the same as it was. I mean, I don't think anything could probably change it anyway. It's just stayed as it is. You're always going to see him. It doesn't matter when, because you know you are.
Is that a choker? I'd describe our relationship as close. I think we're like pieces of Velcros.
But some twins do suffer an identity crisis. Being inseparable can become an issue where one or the other decides they need to spend time apart. 25-year-old Londoners Mandy and Edith have lived together all their lives and even shared a bed until they were 15.
By the time has come where we know we're growing up now, so we have to maybe separate and find out who we are as individuals and try and break that mould. I don't really know who the real me is, because Mandy's always been with me. I don't know my personality, if I'm sharing a personality, if I'm sharing an identity with somebody.
Because it is with me, I'm thinking, is that what I really want to think, or is it she's putting those ideas in my head? We're sort of like,
I think we're both sharing the same brain at the same time. I think it's quite similar, because we do think exactly the same thing, that, oh yeah, let's do that together, and we can say it together. We even finish each other's sentences off as well, each other's lines off, or we both say hi together and then both say bye together, and we go, agree together.
To Mandy and Edith, their lack of individual identities has become a problem. They've decided to visit the first ever Twins Plus festival in Australia to see how other identical twins cope with a dual existence.
It's a brave decision to want to be apart from each other, but quite often a necessary one as well, because they are in danger of being treated by society as freaks of nature if they do stay together. And nobody wants to be socially targeted or excluded in that way.
In Canberra, Edith and Mandy are just one of hundreds of sets of identical twins. For one weekend only, the city has been turned into Twinland. And in the space of an hour, they've seen more twins than in their entire life.
Yeah, well, our dad's Dutch. He came over here when he was 14, and then met our mother, a few years later.
You've got your nose pierced on different sides?
Yeah, we've like mirror image, I prefer, it's weird, we prefer I wear my bags that way, and you wear your bags the other way, so when we face each other, it's the same,
There was two girls. One had a piercing on the right, and then they had it on the left. And then they had the nose piercing, and so when they face each other, they have the mirror image. That's quite strange. And I found that really, very extreme.
Do you want anything else?
For many, separation is not an option.
Well, ultimately, the ideal, I suppose, scenario for us would be to marry twins.
Okay.
Yeah, twin girls, all living together in one big house. I think that would be ideal. That'd be perfect.
You didn't mind to ask me, how old are you, please?
We're 39.
All right, okay. We met two guys that lived in the same house. They shared one car, and they both dated twins. But I did find it a bit scary. These people every day, I think they're thinking, I'm a twin, I'm a twin, I'm a twin, I'm a twin.
Any twins to register?
Twins have travelled from all over Australia to celebrate their genetic similarities. But for Edith and Mandy, what they've seen raises more questions than answers.
speaking to the people at the event yesterday.
And what they've gone through their lives and how they've always been together.
And the stories that they told us yesterday, we haven't done half of the stuff that they've done at all. In this life, we all have a chance to find out who we are as ourselves. You may look the same, but I think we have to sort of draw the line and think, you know, this big world, I have to find out who I am as a person and find out what I want to do for myself. I think it's nice being together, but there comes a time in your life where you just have to draw the line.
Your own identity, really.
Yeah.
Back in Harrow, the grooms are happy to carry on as a confirmed we. Their world is twin world. Their social life is each other, and a perfect night out is a night in.
On our way home from work, we call into our mum and dad's because she cooks dinner for our dad, so she cooks dinner for us as well. And on weekends, Saturdays, we tend to cook for them on a Saturday, so we try out sort of recipes. And it gets her a break as well, and we try out new things on them and experiment. Experiment. No, don't want any of that, no? Don't think so? No. Two things? Muffins, how? Up here? Chocolate chip or ginger? Ginger. Yeah? Sounds a good idea. Yeah? And tinned fruit. If we cook anything, we sort of prepare it between us. She does a bit and we both do a bit each, and then if you do a stir fry, she cuts up the chicken or whatever. And I cut up the vegetables, and then we take turns in stirring it in the pan, so at least we all do a little bit. So.
Identical twins may behave like two halves of the same person, but things can fall apart when one of them chooses to tamper with Mother Nature.
There's a few days where I just felt really lost and sad and betrayed.
Identical twins may be like peas in a pod and determined to stay close throughout their adult lives. But how strong is the bond between them? In Seattle, Washington, twin girls Bonnie and Brenda faced the ultimate twin test.
We were a pair, so you didn't invite one person to a slumber party, you invited Bonnie and Brenda to the slumber party.
We were always together, we played together, had friends together, and always spoke in the we.
We would have dresses that were the same style. There was really no point in even trying to tell us apart.
And when she wasn't around, it felt like something was missing.
But as the twins grew up, differences began to emerge.
I was looking for the latest fashions, and Bonnie was very content wearing the Wrangler jeans.
Although the twins no longer dressed the same, they remained close. Then, just after their joint 30th birthdays, Brenda was told something by her twin sister that threatened to destroy their relationship. Bonnie had decided she wanted to have a sex change.
I heard words that I was very unfamiliar with, like my gender identity. You know, that I thought, what does that mean? And I was not immediately able to speak. I wanted to cry, and I did, and I laughed, and I just couldn't get my brain around it.
I felt awful for hurting her and for putting her through that. I wanted to just say, it's going to be okay. I didn't know it for sure.
Neither knew exactly what lay ahead, but Bonnie was determined to become Aidan.
I was upset because I felt like I was going to lose being an identical twin. I realized that I was not going to have that. It wasn't going to be visible anymore. Nobody was going to turn their head to look at the cute twins that look exactly alike. That was the hardest part for me.
It didn't occur to us at the time that we would lose that piece, and also how strongly we would feel that loss.
Despite her twins' misgivings, at the age of 34, Bonnie began hormone treatment to become a man.
my body was just growing. Any place that had a muscle, that muscle was growing. So that changed my facial structure, and body hair definitely increased. I started with just a little bit around my belly button and just spread and went.
Aidan decided against genital surgery, but did choose to have a breast reduction.
When I heard the doctor describing the procedure and what was going to happen, I think I was appalled at the thought of going through. Why would you want to do that? You know, I understood intellectually, well, you know, a man does not want this. But I felt like my breasts were just fine. You know, if anything, you know, can I have a little bit more? You know, whatever they take out of you, can you put into me? And
Her twin sister now lives life as a man, and Brenda has accepted his change of gender. The fact that Aidan remains her twin is more important than outward appearances.
Aidan flew in to come to my graduation, and he walked into this building where we're all lined up. And I saw him and I just thought, oh, he's so cute. And I wasn't the only one who thought that, because I hear the flutters of the girls around me, you know, the younger women in the, that were graduating with me. I knew other people saw a man. I saw other people's reaction and how other people approached and interacted with him. And then I went, okay, whew, there we are, we're done. We're, you know, the awkwardness is over.
These times, we're just as close as ever, and
you can't take that away by changing your outward appearance or even who you want to partner with.
I don't see there's ever been a time in our lives when she hasn't been the person I have always had in my life.
Nobody is going to make me choose to reject any part of my twin at all, ever.
Brenda is not alone. It seems there is something unique about the bond between identical twins that stays with them as long as they live.
To give you an example of what it would be like with this bond, if there was a burning building and we had to choose between saving a spouse and our twin, we know that it would be our twin first.
I don't know how we would actually go and live separate lives at this point because our lives are so completely intertwined.
We love working together. It's like working with your best friend all the time. And it's great.
I don't think we would like being apart. Well, we don't know because we haven't been apart. We've only been apart one night when you were in hospital, but apart from that we haven't been apart, and I don't think we would like to.